Hey everybody, David Ellefson. Thanks for stopping by the Rock Shop. We just got back from WNAMM out in Anaheim, California. NAMM is National Association of Music Merchants, which is a big closed trade show, meaning it's not open to the public, of all the musical instruments and amplifier manufacturers and drum manufacturers who roll out usually some of their latest and their greatest products that they have. And a big part of it is a lot of musicians and artists go, because let's face it, without creating music, there's no need to have music products to sell around it. And it's a great hang. It's again, it's technically closed to the public, but as musicians, we always find some way to get in. Everybody knows someone in a music store, so a lot of people get in. But which is a big part of something we talked about in a previous Rock Shop about networking. I look at WNAMM as, in our industry, it's just a cool. It's a time of the year when we just get together and our tribe hangs. You know, we all see each other from all around the world. Sometimes we don't see each other except at WNAMM. So it's a cool hookup. I get a lot of emails asking about endorsements. I do artist relations work with Peavey and also have a lot of other endorsements myself. Did some stuff with EMG while I was there. Also the new company Beams. Creating some original music for them and for their products. So a big part of endorsements really, generally companies like to affiliate with famous artists, of course, because it gets their products in their hands and puts those products in front of that artist's audience. And artists, of course, like it because they get to check out some of the latest, greatest, coolest new gear, and also get to maybe kind of piggyback on some of the marketing and advertising that a lot of these big companies are able to offer an artist. So it's really a win-win for everybody. And Devin Townsend, who we're going to check in with here in a minute, he just rolled out a brand new signature product, which is kind of the next level of an endorsement, where you are able to create something in conjunction with the designers and the engineers at a company, and in this case with Peavey. So let's check in with Devin and take a look at his 7-string signature model guitar. Hey everybody, David Ellefson here, WNAMM 2010. Devin Townsend, how you doing, Devin?
Excellent, Dave. How you doing? Very good.
So hey, you got some cool stuff. You've been with Peavey now for what, a little over a year?
Yep,
something like that?
Yeah.
And you came up with a very cool invention, the new 7-string flying V guitar.
That's right. Yeah.
Fill in the viewers here.
Basically, my whole intention, like through my musical development, has been to find solutions to try and represent a lot of different musical styles with like one instrument, right? And that has typically posed problems because the shape versus the sound versus like what works for a heavy sound versus what works for a clean sound always seems to require like compromise on some level, right? So with this, we're currently on tour now with my new Devin Townsend project. I'm in the middle of a 4-record cycle. This is our logo.
Nice.
And like the basic idea is I have had a wealth of solo material over the past 15 years, probably 15 some odd records that were separate from my last entity, Strapping a Lad, that now get to be represented. And I needed a guitar that allowed me to not only do the real heavy stuff and the real clean stuff with a single coil, but also solve the problem of like, how do you look physically like rocking while you're playing the lead stuff without having it up to here, right? Like there's the whole thing. It's like, there's a position where it's easy to do, right? But here's the position where it looks cool. So with like a big V, it's a 28-inch scale with a 15-inch radius, and with a big V, basically you can just block it on your leg and your hand's already in that kind of shred position. So kind of got a business rock kind of vibe going for you, you know, like down low but up high.
Hence the suit too. Right?
Absolutely,
yeah, right,
man.
right.
It's like, honestly, man, it's like I sobered my life up about 3-4 years ago and had a baby, and I was just like, man, you know what? I'm very happy to have the opportunity at the age of whatever age I am to continuously make music, and I got a lot I want to say at this point, right? So working with Peavey has been it's been a really cool trip for me, because not only is it, you know, a company that I've been with since my first amp, essentially, but, you know, just everybody's on a very similar page, like, you know, like talking to yourself and talking to Chris. There's like a lot of people that are kind of sharing that kind of sentiment, you know, in life, and I mean, I'm very excited, man, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for being here. You got a whole line of people came to see you and to sign autographs. Thanks
Awesome.
much. Again, Devin Townsend, David Ellefson, WNAMM 2010. See you. As I said, at WNAMM, there's a ton of musicians of all different musical styles, and a good friend of mine, Jordan Rudis from Dream Theater, came by the Peavey booth, and so I got a chance to get caught up with him. Some funny stories about him. He has what's called perfect pitch, which is where you could name a note or play a note, and he'll know exactly what it is. So check in with Jordan and see what he's got going on. One of my favorite Jordan Brutus stories is you came in and played at the booth here. You performed, and somebody was either a guitar was tuned down or a keyboard was tuned to a different pitch, and you have perfect pitch, right? And it was driving you crazy. You're like, I can't play. I'm like, but can't you just move it down? And you're like, you can't play this perfect pitch. So it's how do you work with that?
The perfect pitch thing is funny. I often tell John Petrucci I could never do what you do because he goes and picks up different guitars,
right?
And they're all different tunings, and I like pick up a guitar, and if it's not tuned to E, I'm completely confused.
Right.
So I play a little bit of guitar, and when I go to a fret, I'm expecting.
So you don't do drop tunings then?
Completely. I mean, I can take the keyboard and transpose it, and I can kind of do it, but it's a whole weird.
Make C act like it's C when
sometimes,
it's really
sometimes
not.
I think relative pitch is a little bit more friendly. The perfect pitch thing is good for certain things, for sure.
Well, that's cool, man.
Definitely is.
Not very many people have perfect pitch in this world, so he is
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, nice.
Go for relative pitch.
Well, thanks for joining us, man. Good to see you as always. Safe travels and all you do. And we are here at WNAMM. Carry on.
See ya.
Okay, now over to the heavy metal region. My buddies Rob Flynn and Phil Demmel from Machine Head were at NAMM, and I got a chance to spend a couple minutes talking with them. That's one of the hardest working metal bands out there. They seem to just relentlessly make records, roll right back out onto tours. And again, as cool as that is and as much fun of it is, internally, obviously, there can be a lot of stress with that, trying to keep an organization together when you're in close confines like that. So Rob and Phil offer some cool advice on ways to keep your band together. So, you know what, it's interesting because a lot of musicians obviously watch. What is the trick to keeping a band like yours together? Because that's a lot of time standing, 2 feet away from each other.
Living on a bus.
Yeah, right?
The metal cylinder.
Because it all looks great on camera and on TV, and you watch it. Oh man, I wish I could do that. But then you're in our shoes and the realities of what that is, right? So what are, especially for you guys, because you guys have a solid lineup. What is the trick to that?
I think it's what I've learned in the 7 years I've been in the band. It's we've grown up over that time, and it's about communication. It's about settling your differences and airing them out between yourselves, or however whatever therapeutic way you can do it. But it's getting it out and not holding it in and letting it explode. So in my time here, we've been able to do that because we've got 4 very different, extreme personalities, and we argue, we fight, and we solve it now.
But that's what makes a band, is the 4 very different personalities.
For sure.
You can't have one, right? It has to be all the different personalities, and that's cool.
It all adds to the dynamic.
Yeah.
And the tension in the music and
the angst.
Yeah.
Right. But not leaving that unresolved to only blow it out on stage.
Well, you capture that moment, you record it, and then you have that, and then you get over it.
That in itself is therapy, right?
Yeah.
not to say that all of our anger comes from being mad at each other.
It was really hate each other.
We're really pissed. We're way more pissed at a lot more other things. So,
that's great.
We're on the same page for so many other things.
All good with Peavey, man. It's great. You guys,
Totally,
I've known you guys for a long time. We've been on the road together, so
for sure, man.
Cool to have you guys here. So anyway, from WNAMM 2010, rock. So there you have it, everybody. Real advice from the real pros who are out there doing it. Thanks, Rob and Phil, for offering up that advice for our viewers. So this is it for this version of Rock Shop. One of the things you got to do right before the show was closing up is get to go over and see our friends at Sony, and this actual episode is edited together on Vegas, which is a piece of Sony software. And speaking of Sony, my buddy Rudy Sarzo, bass extraordinaire and good guy in the metal bass community, is going to be joining us here on an upcoming Rock Shop episode, as is Michael Anthony from Chickenfoot. So stay tuned for that. See ya.